I don't give advice off of social media for free because it's very energy and time consuming, and I actually use my brain. I don't give generic advice to people. And if you don't follow my advice, I at least want to be compensated for my time. With that being said, a young man reached out to me, and he is trying to figure out how to navigate his marriage because he basically wants a divorce. Here's the thing. When I flat out said, why don't you just get a divorce? He said what you and I, as women, already know. A lot of us have been through this shit, we know. Number one, he doesn't want to be the bad guy. Number two is boy math, if I've ever heard it in my life. And I'm going to dive into what I told him if you guys could just hold off on your comments and listen. The second reason is he doesn't want to be put on child support. Now, as I spoke with him, it was an hour session. As I spoke to him, he explained that when they were younger, they were super toxic to each other. They cheated on each other before. Long story short, these people should not be together. But as they got older, they nitpick at each other every now and then. They kind of just mellowed out. But it's basically a situation where he just no longer wants to be married. They got married when they were young. He's a different person now. He doesn't want to do this. He also admitted that he's started flirting with other women. He hasn't gotten any numbers or gone on any dates or slept with anyone, but he has started his eye has begun to wander. So for those of you who are still listening and you haven't commented yet, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So the first point that I addressed was being the bad guy. And I said, you are going to be seen as the bad guy no matter what you do. And there's 3 ways, and you need to figure out which way you want to be seen as the bad guy. So the first option is you're going to be the bad guy because she's going to discover that you have been cheating on her again. Because if you're already looking around, eventually you're going to act on that. The second option is you're going to be seen as the bad guy because she's going to notice that you're cold and distant, and she's going to wreck her brain and stress herself out trying to figure out what's going on. The third way you're going to be seen as the bad guy is you came to her as an adult and you said, I want a divorce, which will break her heart. She might even hate you, depending on the labor and time that she has put into raising the kids and taking care of you and running the household, which is a whole nother conversation that we can talk about, but he only had an hour, so I had to get to the point. And I said, but only one of those options is actually you doing the right thing. That is up to you. And then I addressed the boy math. You don't want to be put on child support. He's paying me. So I was honest with him. I said, I'm not keeping score. My kids owe me nothing. It's my job to take care of them. However, what I want to tell you is the amount of money that I have paid just for taking care of my kids. We're not talking about me spoiling them. This is the bare minimum. The amount of money that I paid on that eclipses the amount that my ex-husband was ordered to pay in child support, which he does not pay. Hasn't paid for years. But anyway, this video ain't about me. And I said, whatever that judge orders you to pay, trust me, she's going to be paying a lot more. And then I said, before you come to her with this conversation, if you take that path, you need to already have figured out what you're going to do. The living arrangements. Have you spoken to a lawyer already? And then he stops me and says, why do I have to be the one to leave? And I said, who is the default parent? He didn't know what I meant. I said, the default parent, who is the person that does bath times most of the times, gets the child dressed most of the times? If the child is sick, they go pick the kid up. If they make sure the kid's sick. Who is the person that does the menial, mundane tasks for that child on a daily basis? He gave me some bullshit about, well, really, it's both of us. I said, sir, you're spending your hard-earned money to talk to me. I'm going to need you to tell me the truth. He then admitted it was her. I said, that baby and the woman taking care of her needs a roof over their head. I said, she's already, if you think about it, she's going to spend a lot of money taking care of this child. The least you can fucking do is let her keep the... Sorry, I cut myself off. I was like, the least you can do is let her keep the house. This is why I tell women we always have to be ready to leave. You can never put your trust in anyone, ever, at any point, because you never know what they're thinking. They might be telling you that they love you, they might be going through the motions, you might think that everything is fine, but that's not what they're thinking, and that's not what they want to do. And you might get mad at me and say, well, why are you encouraging him to end his marriage? Let me tell you something. I'm 40 years old. I have heard stories from other people. I have lived things in my own life. I do not want a man to be with someone he has expressed that he does not want to be with. It usually ends with him harming the woman in some way, as we have all seen. It usually ends in him cheating. It usually ends in him being cold and distant and her leaving. It does not work out, or it ends up in her making all kinds of compromises and changes to try to keep him and make him happy. And it never works. I know there's a lot of messaging telling married people to stay together and to fight, but that only works when both people are fighting. That's the element that people are missing. And as a woman who was abused and traumatized by a man who did not want to be with me, I don't want that for somebody else. I would rather him break her heart and be honest with her and let her move on and grow and learn and heal than for him to break her heart because he starts resenting and abusing her and cheating on her and putting her at risk of getting a disease.